Did you catch that last thing I said? Because this is a dimmer switch for a light fixture, it's not going to matter which black goes to which black in there and this other one, okay? One black to the black wire coming out, one black to the other black wire coming out. It doesn't really matter. If that was a ceiling fan or something like that, then you'd look on the back and one would say too hot and one too fan. That means you would have to take one of these wires to the actual hot wire that's in the light junction box, and then the fan would go up to the other one. But we're not doing that, are we? Okay, so you don't really have to mess with that. Now this one here, you saw there's a black wire, a red wire, and another red wire. There's two red wires and a black wire coming out of here. And maybe this was a three-way dimmer switch and they used it just for a single dimmer switch or something like that. It's a very old one. There's no markings on it or anything. It worked, but we don't really care about that anymore, do we? Okay, so I'm just going to take that off. I'm going to save the wire nuts. We might use the wire nuts, but in your new dimmer switch box, generally you're going to find that they give you some wire nuts. Sure enough, here's 3 new wire nuts. So I'll probably end up using these. Keep track of that. I always like to kind of hang on to extra wire nuts, the ones that I'm not using and all that. Okay, so this white, we know we're not really going to hook up to anything, so I can push that back into the box, right? And remember, the power is off, but you still want to be careful getting the wires in there and stuff. Okay? I like to get that up, pushed all the way in the back. And you know what? That wire nut just bothers me. Remember, the cap came off? I think I'm going to end up not using that. I think I need to take that off of there. Probably get a different wire nut. Yeah, that's the inside of the wire nut. And it just came off of there. Lots of times that doesn't happen. You know? Come on. What's the deal here? It should come off of there. Here it comes. It is. Now see, this is a bigger, the yellow is a bigger wire nut than the orange, so I don't really think I want to put, I can't put the orange one on that. These smaller ones, see that this wire size is pretty thick, but the little wire that's coming off of here, when I pull this off, it's stranded wire, it's really small. That's why you can use the orange wire nuts for that, okay? A rhyme to the reason. And man, I hope I have some wire nuts here. I wasn't planning on replacing that, but that's why I always kind of carry my nail bag around with me and hope that I have something that'll do. Fish around in here and see what I got. Here's a yellow. Okay, I'm going to put that back on there. And sometimes, now these wire nuts, they didn't have any tabs on. Sometimes they have ears and you can turn it. Well, I'm just going to take my pliers and tighten this up a little bit. You know, not too tight. I mean, I'm not going to break it or anything. Feel on that, make sure it's tight. I can push that way back in the back of the box. Okay. I want to get that back in there because see how thick the dimmer switch is? It's pretty thick, but the box is actually pretty deep, and I'm lucky. I only got 2 sets of wires in here, 2 whites, 2 blacks, 2 ground wires. Had this been a junction box for power to go somewhere else other than just power into this box and then power back out to go up to the light, I'd have 3 sets. Sometimes you can have 4 sets of wires in there. Then you got bigger wire nuts, more wires. It fills that up. You got to be real careful pushing everything back into the wall. This case, we kind of lucked out on that, didn't we? Now, before we start getting all gung-ho, I'm just going to kind of look and see what I got here. Straighten these wires out. And because this is a switch, and it's just a single switch going from here up to a light, it's not going to matter which black wire we use for which wire on this dimmer, okay? This black can go to here and this one can go over there, or I can flip these around and go that way. It doesn't really matter, alright? This is a time when it does not matter. Okay, I look on this, I see there's a black, 2 blacks, so one's going to each black wire. I got the green wire, and here's my ground wire. It was already conveniently located in the box, so I'm going to hook those 3 up like that. And when I look at this switch, also make sure that you put it in facing up. And if you look at this, you might at first glance think, you know, which side's up, which side's down. Well, you look on here and there's a definite little mark, and this one here says top, way up high there. And so I know this is the bottom down here. I don't even really have to look at that. Sometimes the writing confuses you because it might be backwards, upside down, or whatever. Either way you do it, you can see the writing. So don't ever refer to that. Usually look up here. And I'm holding that up there, and I know this is the dimmer here, and then it stops, it turns off, and there's a definite little snap down there. I know that's down at the bottom, okay? So that's how I want it. I could do it that way, but that's really not the right way to do it, and it'll still work. But all your other dimmers and everything start at the bottom and come up. So as you're pushing up, it's dim, and then the brighter it goes, the higher you put it, okay? So that's how we're going to do that. Now, I know there's going to be some of you out there saying, hey, Joe, you are long-winded. You keep explaining stuff that I already know. Well, some viewers may not know as much as you, okay? So that's why I take a little bit extra time. All right, so these wires here, you just pull that off. Usually they're already separated like that. Just pop that off of there. Before I put that on, I'm just going to kind of twist these wire strands together. There's probably 8 or 9 little strands of wire. So I like to twist that together just to make it one. Okay, I do that here on this one. Here's my ground. I do that. And sometimes they don't make this pigtail or this little end long enough. You may have to strip off a little bit extra wire, but that's enough for this, okay? So I don't have to strip those back. Sometimes people take that, strip it back a little bit, wrap it around the wire and stuff. I mean, there's different ways to do it. Now look at my wire ends, and I've got plenty of copper wire coming out of the end, and I don't want that too long or else my cap's not going to cover it when I screw it on, right? And you might have to straighten out the ends. This one came out pretty nice. Lots of times yours might be all twisted and you might have to rearrange it. Just get it straight. If you have to cut this back and re-strip it, you can do that. But you know, this is about as much as that you need coming out of there. Okay, now if there would have been a regular light switch in there, you pull the regular light switch out, and this is what you're going to end up having out of a regular light switch. Okay, so very simple. You don't have to have a dimmer in there to know how to wire up another dimmer. Okay, I don't want these wires to confuse you. If you got a question, you can look at the directions, and in each package of a dimmer switch or whatever, you get the directions here. And it's very important to remember to order or to pick up the right one. You know, you don't want to get something that's a 3-way. This is called a single pole dimmer, slide dimmer. You want to make sure you don't get a 3-way or something like that, because you're going to cost. It's going to cost more first off, and those are designed for something different. So you want single pole. And what is this? This is probably a 15 amp slide dimmer. Okay, that's a standard. Okay, so I'm just gonna hold that up there, and this wire is sticking out a little bit longer, so I'm just gonna kind of take it and kind of fold it over in the same direction that my wire net's gonna go. Okay, I can put that on there, and that's my ground. Just make it tight. And you just want to kind of pull on the wire and make sure make sure that the wire is tight in there, because sometimes you might think that this is tight and you feel, okay, I can't turn it anymore, and all of a sudden you pull on this and son of a gun, it comes right out, because as you were turning it, something happened in there and it just spun and kind of backed up on itself. Okay, always want to make sure that everything's tight. Okay. Okay, so now one goes to one black wire and the other one goes to the other. This one's about the same length, so I just have to hold both of them up there like that and put the wire nut on. I know you can do this. Hey, you don't have to be a certified electrician with all the bells and whistles in order to put one of these up here to replace your old light switch, okay? Very simple. If I can do it, an average Joe, you can do it. That's what my channel is all about. Have you figured that out yet? I think you have. Get my hand out of the way, my arm. Okay. All right, that feels good. Now we can push everything back in the wall. Before we do that, if you want, you can test this out. We can turn the breaker back on and we can actually turn this on right now and make sure it all works. Okay, let's do that. Okay, I got the power back on. I've still got my little construction light in here. That's why you can see the shadows and stuff. I have not turned this yet. Just be careful with this. Everything should be fine. You should be able to touch any of this. This is all hot now. Hey, you can just be careful. Nothing's going to happen. Just hang on to this and we're going to turn it on. I have not turned this on yet. Here it goes. Okay, that's working. Let me move this other light out of here so you can see it. Know that I'm not pulling any fast ones on you. I wouldn't do that. Okay. Here this goes down and we dim it down, and then you can have it dim all the way down and still not click it off, but then your power is still going to be on. So you want to kind of push it down just a little bit at the end, and then you know it's off. Okay. Then turn that up and there you go. That works out pretty good. See, there's the light. Let's dim it down. And what I like about this is in bathrooms, do you need to have a dimmer? Because you always want the light on. But think about it. When it's late at night or in the middle of the night and you want to come in here, you know, your eyes are not accustomed to something really super bright at first, is it? So late at night, you can just have the dimmer on a little bit. You know, just turn it on a little like that. That's it.